The last meeting, before we ended the asynchronous session, we asked the question, what stops trees from growing in abandoned rice fields? So, for most people, it the question is just a matter of curiosity. But if you're an environmental planner or if you manage to buy this land, hopefully not just to convert it into a subdivision, but yeah, I mean, these lands have the potential to become habitats for certain species of birds, insects, frogs, and so on. And rather than just leave them as abandoned lands or again convert them into subdivisions that nobody really buys, um, they can be used for a forestry project that would aid by storing carbon or, be restored for future use. But again, based from what we've observed, even though some abandoned rice fields have been left alone for a long time, parang hindi naman sila tinutubuan ng puno. So, kaya yun yung naging question. So, it's important for us to understand why certain kinds of land change in different ways. So, from our attendees during our asynchronous session last Monday, we were able to arrive at two possible hypotheses that can be tested. But of course, there's a lot more that you can use. But in for those who attended in the last meeting, one of the reasons was it's possible that trees were not growing kasi wala namang na-introduce the seeds from nearby areas. And yet another one of the hypotheses was that the soil type or the nutrients present in the soil is not the one that's needed or in order for trees to grow. So, given these hypotheses, although you can create your own, I asked the class to design an experiment to determine the role of blank, whichever hypothesis you prefer, on tree growth. So, your experiment should have the following elements: working in null hypothesis, because again, they always have to exist at least in pairs. But in the laboratory, usually when you have one main hypothesis, um, and you're creating a scientific hypothesis, it's usually in fours rather than just in twos. So dito dalawa lang, pero pag scientific hypothesis, apat yung pinapa-develop. And then describe your experimental objective, your sampling domain, factors of interest and response parameters, factor levels, experimental units, levels of treatments, your physical layout or temporal sequence if applicable, number of replicates, subsamples, statistical analysis to be used, and your limitations. So the instructions given to you was to prepare this because most of you, if not all of you, will be given the opportunity to present today. So let's go ahead and do that. So to facilitate this, I will be calling members of the class randomly. I hope that you can share screen and no need to turn on your camera, but please walk us through the experiment that you've designed. Now, there's a chance that if I see some concerns regarding your submission, um, it's not gonna be a deduction, ha. So I'm not really expecting perfect submissions here, just submissions that you thought of well. But basically, um, from 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 what you've created, if I see something that needs to be clarified, like a common misunderstanding, then I will interrupt you from presenting and then use that as an opportunity to clarify to the class. Okay, so okay, I guess let's go ahead and get started. So for our first presenter, let's see. Maybe let's hear from Trixie Valcos. Okay po. You.
Visible naman po.
Yes, but there's a gray rectangle at the upper portion.
Um, yan po.
Merong maliit pa rin na gray. Like there's one in the middle, pero ayan, nawala na yung
Hindi ko na po kayang
I think we're okay now. Go ahead.
okay po. So, good morning everyone. My name is Trixie Vargas and I will present my working hypothesis. To start off, my working hypothesis is flooded rice field soils have significantly higher moisture and lower oxygen levels compared to non-flooded soils. And my null hypothesis is that there is no significant difference in seedling growth between flooded rice field flooded rice field soils and non-flooded soils.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Trixie. Actually, there's nothing wrong with what you're presenting. So far, her working and null hypothesis are statistical hypothesis, with the first one saying there's significantly higher moisture and lower oxygen levels, and then the null hypothesis is there is no significant difference. Um, Trixie, is it okay if you stop screen sharing for now? Because
Okay po.
I want to. And can you send through the chat a copy of your working hypothesis?
Wait lang po.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem. Yan. Para may gusto kong i-demonstrate sa class regarding
Okay
that.
po.
Yay, thank you so much, Trixie. So let me just share screen. Because even though the hypothesis that Trixie provided us is um a statistical hypothesis. Wow, ang laki ng font. Ayan. Um, this is actually a good opportunity for us to differentiate a statistical hypothesis from a scientific hypothesis. Because right now, this is a good opportunity to learn about two-factor hypotheses. So in Trixie's hypothesis, it's about flooded rice field soils. Um, they have higher moisture. Um, and so please correct me if I'm wrong, Trixie. When they're flooded, this allows them to grow plants.
Usually no po because kapag po flooded, which means higher moisture and lower oxygen levels po. And plants or trees needs oxygen to grow.
Okay. So flooded rice field soils have higher moisture. Um, so that's one component. And then another component is that flooded rice field soils have lower oxygen levels. So these are the two components of Trixie's hypothesis. Now, if we want to convert this into a a scientific hypothesis, you start by putting your um, independent variable. So flooded rice field soils have no wait. So you remove the flooded portion. So soils that have higher moisture will have lesser with higher moisture to the level of flooding, of course, will have lesser tree growth. Now, that's the first factor. And then you create its partner. So it becomes a scientific hypothesis because you partner your independent variable with a dependent variable. And then you've heard Trixie's explanation. Higher moisture often leads to lower oxygen levels, and thus plants or trees specifically end up not growing there. So we first investigate the first factor. So higher moisture enough for flooding will have lesser tree growth. You create its partner, soils that have higher moisture, again to the level of flooding, will have, the difference here is the difference in the result, more tree growth. And then another partner for that is that soils that have the next difference, lower moisture. So you alter your parameter, I guess to the point of dryness, will have lesser tree growth. So the initial expectation from the first. And then the last is that soils that have lower moisture, dry, sorry, dry, will have lesser tree growth. So this is how to make um, a set of hypotheses using just one factor that will make it more systematic for you to debunk the hypothesis and identify the likely explanation to a phenomenon. Kasi na-cover mo lahat ng possible na mangyari. So, ang hypothesis mo talaga, ang main, is that higher moisture to the level of flooding will result to lesser tree growth. This is the one that should have an explanation. And then the other three, you don't necessarily have to provide an explanation for them, but you provide them so that you can account for all possibilities given your factor. So higher moisture can also have more tree growth. Lower moisture could also have lesser tree growth. And then lower moisture will have lesser tree growth. So the idea is to be able to design an experiment that will debunk all four. But from there, duplicated. Since this is a two-factor hypothesis, from moisture, you also have to worry about oxygen levels. So this time you can have soils that have lower oxygen levels. Again, this will be your main hypothesis. Will have lesser tree growth. Again, this one should have an explanation. And then soils that have, copy na lang natin. Lower oxygen levels will have more tree growth. And then, again, you do the same system for the second hypothesis. Soils that have higher oxygen levels will have lesser tree growth. And then here, higher oxygen levels will have, hindi ko pala na-edit to kanina, more tree growth. So, that's the usual partnering. I have to change this to, sorry, there. So that's for two separate single factor hypotheses. Now, what if you want to combine because you need a two-factor hypothesis? Well, what you do is you start with this. So, soils that have higher moisture and ang gustong combination ni Trixie and lower oxygen levels will have less tree growth. Again, that should have an explanation. And then higher moisture and this is just to show you how mabusisi, how detail oriented we should be. Should have more tree growth. And then once we have that there, you can change the first part. Lower moisture. Sorry. Lower moisture and lower oxygen levels will have lesser tree growth. And then we should have lower moisture and lower oxygen levels will have more tree growth. So, apat na sila. But wait, there's more. Soils that have lower moisture and higher oxygen levels will have lesser tree growth. And then lower moisture and higher oxygen levels will have more tree growth. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more set. And then we put this first one down. Higher moisture, this shouldn't necessarily be in bold, and higher oxygen levels will have lesser tree growth and then create its partner. Soils that have higher moisture and higher oxygen levels will have more tree. So if you have a two-factor hypothesis, a two-factor scientific hypothesis, you would end up creating eight hypotheses all in all. And the idea is to create an experiment that will allow you to debunk these alternative hypotheses to each other. So that's the power of a scientific hypothesis compared to just a statistical hypothesis. Because at the end of the day, a statistical hypothesis can just tell you whether a significant difference is present or not. Whereas um, a scientific hypothesis can lead you to the right combination of factors or elements that would result in a change in the parameter that you're observing. Okay, so that's it from my end. Do you have any questions or points of clarification regarding what I just mentioned? I sorry, Peter, you have a question. I just saw it in the chat. Third and fourth, you mentioned.
Yung sa kanina lang po, yung apat pa po sila pero na-edit nyo na po. Yung
Na-edit
sa
ko na.
more.
Okay.
Opo.
Dito nakalimutan kong i-edit. Yeah. Thank you for that, Peter. Okay. So, okay. So with that, um, so thank you so much for that, Trixie. So you've already earned points for this exercise. Let's move forward to another submission. Maybe we can hear from Precious Tantian Pak.
Good morning, Miss. Am I audible po?
We can hear you.
Okay. Hmm. Is my screen, ano po,
Yes,
could
we
you
can
see
see
the
it.
screen?
Yeah.
So, for yung experimental design on weed, I wanted to understand about weed growth that grows near trees. So, my HO would be weeds negatively impact the growth of young trees by competing for light, nutrients, and water. While the null hypothesis there will be no significant difference on the growth of young trees between areas with and without weed competition. So experimental objectives is to assess the effect of weed presence on growth performance on selected tree species in the abandoned rice field areas. So inisip ko, even though walang tree growths, maybe they could um find specific species uh of certain plants na trees that we could possibly um, find inside the abandoned rice fields, and your sampling domain is the
Sige, wait
abandoned
lang,
rice.
Precious. Before going to
Mm-hmm.
the sampling domain, I would like to say something a little bit about experimental objective. So can
Mm-hmm.
you stop screen sharing for now and maybe send me your H naught, your main hypothesis and experimental objective in the chat.
Okay, will do po.
Thank you. Okay. So while I'm waiting for Precious to send me her objective and her hypothesis in the chat, I guess what I like to highlight at this point is um, there are a lot of misconceptions among students regarding what an experimental objective should be and how it's connected to the hypothesis. So first off, I'd like to commend Precious because I can see a clear connection between her hypothesis and her experimental objective. So let me just copy her main hypothesis to the screen. So that's her main hypothesis. And her objective is to assess the effect of weed presence on the growth performance of selected tree species in abandoned rice fields. So, what I find interesting about the submission of Precious is that perhaps in her observations or in her review, when we see abandoned rice fields, hindi naman siya puro lupa lang. We actually, and if you remember any class or exercise in elementary or high school before that involved gardening, usually tinatanggal natin yung weeds kasi they compete with other plants and therefore can prevent growth. So in this case, what Precious wants to do is to assess the effect of weed presence on the growth performance of selected tree species in abandoned rice fields. So, generally speaking, this is interesting, but while Precious was talking about her objective, some questions come up. So, like, what particular weed are we interested in? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng sabay-sabay lahat ng uri ng weed. Sorry, natawa ako. Weed. Lahat ng uri ng damo, ay, parang masamang damo pa rin. Whatever species of weed it is, hindi, ang dami nila, sobrang daming pwede. So, lahat ba yun aaralin or may specific lang? And then she also mentioned on the growth performance of selected tree species. So, what species? In an abandoned rice field. But generally speaking, her main hypothesis is that weeds negatively impact the growth of young trees by competing for light, nutrients, and water. So to refine your objective when you're actually doing this, let's say for a thesis or a project, you might want to make your objective a little bit more specific so that you can easily match your objective with your methodology, with the specific results, and with the specific discussion. Kasi yun ang isa sa mga signs ng well-designed na experiment. One objective, one set of experiments, one set of data, and then one set of discussions. So in this case, to assess the effect of Sir Lawrence, meron ka bang naisip na species ng weed na common na nakikita? Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Okay, so
As a
since weed is more on a general term, maybe put Carabao grass na lang.
Okay.
Since at some farm, although pinapalaki siya for lawn, nagiging weed pa rin siya if we are farming a certain species. So, yun na lang.
Okay, and what could be a good native tree species to study kung rehabilitation, let's say, ang purpose ng field natin?
Okay, if rehab ang field, maybe, and it's an abandoned rice field, maybe we can start with pioneer species. A Ficus sp, pwede na siguro yun.
So Ficus sp is rubber tree?
Non-native yung rubber
Non-native.
tree na kilala natin. Pero Ficus, marami tayong Ficus na pioneer species na native.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sir Lawrence.
If you want, you can put Ficus pseudopalma. Okay na siguro yan.
Okay, para native. Okay,
Yes.
pseudopalma. Thank you so much, Sir Lawrence. Yan, kaya importante ang sistema, class, ha? Kasi pag nag-aaral kayo in the future at nag-a-apply, it's actually important for us to or animals are growing or living in a particular area. So in this case, you want to be specific with your objective to assess the effect of Carabao grass on the growth performance of Ficus pseudopalma in abandoned rice fields. That's one way to make your objective more concrete and more measurable. And so, from there, maa-adjust mo rin or mai-improve mo rin yung hypothesis mo to Carabao grass negatively impacts the growth of young Ficus pseudopalma by, bakit naka-italicize pa rin? By competing for light, nutrients, and water. So, ang gusto kong i-highlight dito, as a scientific hypothesis, kasi scientific hypothesis na actually to eh, this portion is the explanation. So, maganda yung lumilitaw sa introduction nyo. Pero, pag systematic debunking na tayo, ang magiging kapartner ng hypothesis na ito would be, your second hypothesis would be Carabao grass, single factor lang siya, no? So, Carabao grass positively impacts the growth of, dapat naka-bold pala ito. Yan. Of young Ficus wait lang, parang may mali. Ayan, pseudopalma. So, yan yung H2. Ay, hindi. Yes, yan na. Tapos, ang susunod, H3. So, parehong merong Carabao grass. Pag merong Carabao grass, positive yung growth ni pseudopalma. Pag merong Carabao grass, negative yung growth ni pseudopalma. Ang susunod is absence of Carabao grass. Negatively impacts the growth of F pseudopalma. And then H4 is that, so presence, absence. Okay. Positively impacts the growth of F pseudopalma. So, ayan. So, isang main hypothesis, nagkakaroon siya ng additional partner. Apat na total hypothesis pag single factor yung tinitest mo. At ang single factor dito is yung presence ng Carabao grass. So, pag may Carabao grass, hindi tumutubo yung puno. Pag may Carabao grass, tumutubo yung puno. Pag walang Carabao grass, hindi tumutubo yung puno. Pag walang Carabao grass, tumutubo yung puno. So, sila yung partner-partner na ide-debunk mo. Walang specific order to ha. Like, yung H1 lang yung kailangan nasa una. Pero basically, they're all relatively opposites of each other. Okay. So, any questions so far with this second clarification? Okay, sige, kung wala, maybe let's hear from Crizel Suelto.
Hello po, let me share my screen lang po.
Okay, we can see it, Zel.
So this is for my experiment. So my working hypothesis po is high levels of pesticide residue in the soil of abandoned rice fields negatively affect tree growth as they are toxic to trees and limit nutrient absorption. Null hypothesis ko po is high levels of pesticide residue in the soil of abandoned rice fields do not have an effect on tree growth.
Okay. Sorry, Zel. That's correct. Pero let's try and convert this into a practice for a scientific hypothesis para matulungan kayo sa lab. So can you stop screen sharing and maybe send me a copy of your working hypothesis?
Okay.
Pero don't mute kasi I will need your help with this particular round.
Okay po.
Okay. Okay, so I have Zell's hypothesis here. So this is our H1. So, So Zell, my first question with you is, given this hypothesis, it's actually already on its way to becoming a scientific hypothesis. Which portion is the explanation or the justification?
It would start po from toxic to trees and limit nutrient absorption.
Okay, so the portion that says as they are toxic to trees and limit nutrient absorption. That's Zell's explanation. So very good. Now, if we're going to turn this into a scientific hypothesis, what would be our second statement? So right now, our first statement, if we remove the explanation, is high levels of pesticide residue in the soil of abandoned rice fields negatively affect tree growth. What would be its partner, its primary opposite?
Um, would it be like wala pong effect or they positively affect?
Okay, very good. Yung walang effect, dun lang limited tayo sa statistical hypothesis. Pero yung positive effect, yun yung nagiging scientific hypothesis partners sila. So ang magiging second statement mo is that high levels of pesticide residue in the soil of abandoned rice fields positively affect tree growth. Pero may dalawang statements pa tayo. Paano naman yung H3?
Low levels of pesticide residue po.
Okay, low levels, pero positively or negatively?
Negatively po.
Okay, so ayan. Oh, abandoned rice fields negatively affect tree growth. And then H4 would be,
Low levels and positively affect po.
okay, very good. Ayan, gets na. So, Sir Lawrence, kayang-kaya na nilang gumawa ng hypothesis for lab. I hope. Ayan. So there you go. So Zell has created the 4 sets of hypotheses needed para ma-convert yung statistical hypothesis niya into a scientific hypothesis. Good job, Zell. So hopefully nakatulong din to sa iyong classmates para makagawa kayo ng scientific hypothesis. Of course, not just for lab, but for any other activity that you need to do. So again, thank you, Zell. So this time, maybe let's hear from Hallie Reyes. Miss Reyes, are you here with us?
Yes po, sorry po. I'm trying to screen share po.
No problem.
Kita na po ba?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to apologize po kasi multiple slides po yung nagawa ko. Pero, yeah. So, sa akin po is the effects of water quality on tree growth sa paddy fields. And so, my working and null hypothesis po are poor water quality causes a decrease in tree growth of Madre de Cacao. And yung null hypothesis is yung there is no significant difference in the tree growth for Madre de Cacao.
Hallie, sorry, please go back to that slide. So I won't ask you to stop screen sharing, but given the examples we've had before, so if your main hypothesis is poor water quality causes a decrease in tree growth, what would be your H2? So what would you change first in the wording?
If poor water quality negatively impacts tree growth sa Madre de Cacao.
That's your H1. What would be your H2?
Um,
Sige, maybe some of your classmates can help kasi usually pag lab naman, nag-groupings tayo. Does anyone want to volunteer for, okay, Peter, go ahead. What's H2?
Yung H2 po, poor water quality causes an increase in tree growth po.
Okay, very good. Maybe someone would like to volunteer what H3 would be. So far H1, poor water quality, decrease in tree growth. H2 is poor water quality, increase in tree growth. H3 would be Maxine, go ahead.
Miss, good water quality causes a decrease in tree growth of Madre de Cacao.
Okay, great. And Precious, H4?
Good water quality causes increase in tree growth of Madre de Cacao.
Very good. Okay. Thank you so much for that, classmates, groupmates, possibly. So Hallie, you can go ahead and continue. So from this statistical hypothesis, I hope you were able to take note of the possible scientific hypothesis that can be derived. But anyway, moving forward, what are the other features of the experiment you created?
yes po. So yung experimental objective po, as we know, paddy fields usually contain an abundance of water. Thus, according to Xia et al. 2022, there are detrimental effects of water quality, yung main concern being diffuse pollution, carbon transport, and harmful chemicals. And this has been a problem for plants if the quality of water is not being watched in abandoned rice fields. So yung main objectives are to determine the effects of 3 different types of water quality on the growth of trees and measure the nutrient losses and changes of acidity and temperature.
Okay, I'd like to ask you to pause at that point, Hallie. Please go back. So for this one, so Hallie was able to give us some background information regarding water and how it changes its quality that might be related to paddy fields. So this explanation is better connected to your hypothesis rather than your. So usually the background information that you provide helps to justify the hypothesis that you've created. Because remember, a hypothesis is an intelligent guess. Hindi lang siya yung Miss gut feeling ko lang, yun yung explanation. Hindi yun scientific. Pag ganun, ano, pseudo-scientific siya. So when you're doing your presentations, the justification regarding the logic behind your hypothesis should be connected to the hypothesis and not the objective. And right now, Hallie is presenting to us 2 sets of objectives. The effects of 3 different types of water. So I'm assuming they have different water qualities, whatever it means, kung ano ang good or bad, no? And then the second is about nutrients, acidity, and temperature. So when you have an experiment that's like this, each objective should have its own set of hypotheses. So the hypothesis that Hallie presented fits the first one, no? Pero since 3 levels siya, medyo mas gradient siya, no, versus good and bad. Pero pwede kasing may medium, pwede naman talaga yun. And the second is an objective that might actually require a 3-factor hypothesis. Because in the first one, it's just quality of water, good versus bad, even though pwede rin may medium. So, pwede na yung hypothesis sets na ginawa natin kanina. Pero kung dalawa yung objectives mo, dapat meron kang dalawang set ng hypothesis din. So, ang kailangan yung tandaan, guys, per objective, there should be a hypothesis set. Per hypothesis set, there should be an equivalent method. Per method, there should be an equivalent data set and then analysis. So, mamamatchy-matchy nyo siya. So, dahil dito, kung dalawa ang objectives, dapat may isang set pa ng hypothesis. So, since 3-factor hypothesis ito, kailangan mo ng, kung ang 2 factor ay nagiging 8. Ang 3 factor ay 3 times 3, 9 times 3. Tama, Sir Lawrence, 27 statements kung 3-factor hypothesis
3 times 3.
times 3.
Oo.
Yun.
Oo, 27 nga.
So, kailangan mo ng isang hypothesis set na may 27 statements para ma-debunk mo yung all possible trends na makikita mo sa data. So, kaya ingat-ingat din tayo pag nagsiset ng objectives kasi do we want to treat it as a 3-factor hypothesis or gusto mo siyang i-treat as 3 separate sets of factors, no? So, yun. I mean, may mga ganun talagang research projects, no, na multiple factors. Pero usually, pag umabot ka na sa 3-factor hypothesis, marami kang oras, marami kang resources, definitely hindi mo siya magagawa in 3 hours. Kaya for our lab classes, we usually limit you to at most a 2-factor hypothesis. Although, we would advise na simulan niyo muna to a 1-factor hypothesis. Tapos sa mga susunod na experiments niyo na siya elaborate or expand para ma-practice din naman kayo, syempre. Okay? So, yun na. I hope you can remember that one objective, one set of hypotheses. Hindi one statement, ha? One set of hypotheses. One partner methodology. So, isang set ng experiments para lang dun sa hypothesis na yun. Counterpart na data, counterpart na discussion. Okay. So, thank you so much for this, Hallie.
Thank you po.
Okay, let's move forward. Maybe let's hear from Gerard Marasigan. Am I pronouncing your name right? Please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, ha?
Hello po, Doc. Good morning po.
Okay, Miggy. Okay. Call you
Apo.
Miggy. Okay, go ahead, Miggy.
Apo. Okay po. So, this is my experimental design po. It's mainly built po on the factor, or the factor that it's mainly built on is the possibility that soil from abandoned rice fields, which were previously used to grow crops on, may have had depleted nutrients over time. So, based from that, po, my working hypothesis is soil previously used to grow crops in abandoned rice fields has a negative effect on tree growth due to depleted nutrients. And counterpart null hypothesis is soil previously used to grow crops in abandoned rice fields does not have a negative effect on tree growth due to depleted nutrients. But I guess po with the if I were to fix this po, the hypothesis to have 4 hypotheses, I would say it would be soil previously used to grow crops in abandoned rice fields has a positive effect on tree growth, and that would be H1. H2 is soil in abandoned rice fields has a negative effect on tree growth, and for H3, soil in non-abandoned rice fields or typical rice fields does not have a negative effect on tree growth, and another is soil from non-abandoned rice fields does not have a positive effect on tree growth due to depleted nutrients. So, apart from that, my experimental objective here is to determine if soil in abandoned rice fields can sustain the growth of trees given their amount of nutrition or given the depleted nutrients that they've had from growing crops over time. And as for my sampling domain po, it would be mainly focused on plots of land from rice fields and regular soil. And the factor of interest and response parameter to be monitored here would mainly be the nutrient level of soil and the height of the planted trees, which I will mainly be focusing on for as a basis for assessment of what the trees will or what the tree growth or what is the effect of on the tree growth. And for experimental units,
Okay, Miggy, I'll ask you to pause
yes.
there. So interesting. So I think for Miggy's study, something that can be recalibrated to make it more focused is the connection of factor of interest with the hypothesis. So I appreciate how Miggy was able to clarify an alternative version to his hypothesis set na um in order to incorporate our new learnings on how to make scientific hypothesis. So soil from abandoned rice fields, negative effect. Soil from abandoned rice fields, positive effect. Soil from current rice fields, negative effect. Soil from current rice fields, positive effect. So from the hypotheses, what we're looking at, what we're comparing would be soil that is abandoned versus soil that is currently being tilled. Pero yung factor of interest naman ni Miggy na nilagay ay nutrient level. So I can see why it can be confusing kasi yung absence ng nutrients ng abandoned soil pero ang gusto kong i-clarify sa class, if you find an explanation for your hypothesis, that's part of previous knowledge. Hindi siya yung nagiging factor of interest. Kasi kung ang factor of interest natin ay nutrient level of soil, ang dapat na counterpart na hypothesis natin dyan would be soil with high nutrient levels will have a positive effect on tree growth. Soil with high nutrient levels will have a negative effect on tree growth. Soil with low levels of nutrients will have a positive effect on tree growth. And then soil with low levels of nutrients will have a negative effect on tree growth. So yung ganun yung partnership. So nutrient level of soil, yung independent, and then tree growth, yung dependent. Pero kung ang gusto nating hypothesis is yung status nung rice fields, abandoned versus currently used, then dapat ang factor of interest natin is status of the rice field. So abandoned versus currently used. So yun. So it's a good study. We just need to recalibrate it para mas focused yung magiging explanation mo nung hypothesis and data together later on. So does that help, Miggy?
Yes po, Doc. Thank you po.
You also, and I hope everybody was able to understand yung ganung sometimes very literal connection. So thank you for that, Miggy. You can stop screen sharing now. Okay. Let's try and hear from Angelique Malyari.
Yes po, Doc. We'll share screen na po.
Okay.
Kita po ba?
Yes, we can see your screen, although medyo maliit yung font.
Ayan po.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay po. So for my experimental design po, I wanted to know the role of soil impact compaction on tree growth. So for my working hypothesis, an increase in soil compaction in abandoned rice fields would lead to a significant decrease in the height of tree seedlings after a 6-month period. And then for the null hypothesis, there is no difference in the height of tree seedlings grown in abandoned rice fields subjected to varying levels of soil compaction after a 6-month growth. For the objective, I wanted to quantitatively determine the effect of 3 distinct levels of soil compaction, specifically low compaction, medium, and high compaction. And then for the sampling domain, the experiment will be conducted within the abandoned rice fields in Imus Cavite. And then for the factors of interest, first is the soil compaction, which will be quantified in bulk density and measured in kilograms per cubic meter. This will be the independent variable. And then for the experimental units, it will be a plot of land measuring 1 square meters. And then for the levels of treatment, for the low compaction, the bulk density is 1 cubic meter, 1 kilogram per cubic meter. Level 2 is medium compaction with the measurement of 1.3 kilogram per cubic meter. And then lastly, high compaction with a bulk density of 1.6 kilograms per cubic meter.
Okay, Angelique, I'd like to ask you to pause in that portion. So
Okay.
I'm the details of your experiment are actually in line, except that one of the key terminologies or key aspects of your objectives is you mentioned a 6-month period. But we've reached the
Yes.
point of levels of treatment, but it has not come up yet. So may we know the reason why you put in 6-month period in your objective?
Siguro po para lang may time frame yung experiment.
Okay, so you're putting that as a limitation of the experiment,
Yes po.
given
Apo.
limited resources. Okay, so that's a smart thing to do, except that usually the words or the terms that we incorporate in the objective are those that are the main focus of the parang kumbaga kung magpapalabas ka ng trailer sa pelikula, yung pinaka-exciting parts yung ipe-present mo. So, um, the 6-month period should come up dun sa portion ng scope and limitations. So, not unless it's a main portion, try to remove it from the objective. Or if it's really important for you to set expectations of your audience, you can mention early growth stages of the plant. Like if you're going to plant seedlings, usually, kunyari, according to your RRL, ang early stages of development nila occurs within 6 months. Pwedeng ganun yung term mo. So like effect of soil compaction on the early stages of growth. But sorry, just as a follow-up question then, Angelique, bakit
Ayos po.
6 months yung limitation?
Actually, naisip ko lang po siya.
Okay.
Oh,
I appreciate the honesty kasi it's a common myth from our students, a common misunderstanding when setting your scope and limitations na 6 months kasi 2 terms lang po yung pwede naming i-thesis bio to, no? Gets ko naman yon. Pero pagdating sa research studies, pag magse-set tayo ng scope and limitations, as much as possible, meron siyang connection dun sa study natin. At hindi necessarily sa ating personal limitation. So kaya ko rin nabanggit kanina yung early developmental stages ng plant is that baka naman ang puno tapos na yung first stage of maturation niya within 6 weeks. So, hindi mo pala kailangang aralin ng 6 months. Kasi tatanungin din kayo eventually ng panelists nyo, bakit 6 months? So, ideally, ang sagot nyo ay hindi lang, kasi sir, 2 terms lang po tayo. Ang sana sagot nyo is, kasi po, ang interest po namin ay yung early stages ng plant growth. Kaya 6 months po yung nilagay namin. Kasi according to RRL, for this species, on average, usually natatapos po yung early developmental stages around 5.5 months. So nagdagdag lang po kami ng isang additional or 2 weeks para lang po to account for variation. So ideally, ganun dapat yung explanation natin sa scope and limitations class. Hindi yung sabi po kasi ng advisor namin and so on. So, for ecology lab, my experience niya na bakit ganun yung size ng coin na gagamitin nyo for exercise 2 or dun sa benthic sampling method. Bakit yan yung glasswares na kino-compare? Hindi nyo pwedeng isagot na yun po kasi yung sabi ni Sir Lawrence or yun po kasi yung nasa manual. You have to be able to um, give us an explanation na pwede nating makonect sa logic, sa RRL. For example, Miss, kasi kung titingnan niyo po yung ratio ng size ng coin sa A2 paper, pwede po niyang ma-represent yung rough proportionality ng size ng isang coral colony pag po ganito yung shape, pag tinitingnan po natin sila sa reef. So, dapat may mga naka-prepare kayong ganong explanations or bakit yan yung glasswares na gagamitin nyo for accuracy and precision ng glasswares? Kasi po yan yung pinaka-common na available na glasswares na ginagamit sa ganito. So sila po yung gusto namin gawin. and so on and so forth. So, pati sa scope and limitations yun din, bakit 6 months? Ideally, meron siyang connection. So, isa pang example, kami for example, we do research on juvenile stages of mangrove crabs. Pag nag-observe kami ng physical changes sa mangrove crabs, it's usually in a span of 3 months. Kasi 3 months yung growing cycle ng ating aquaculture farmers pag nagpapalaki ng alimango. So, hindi dahil hanggang 3 months lang yung budget namin, more of 3 months kasi ganun yung katagal yung usual time para patabain yung alimango in the field. Okay? So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for that, Angeli.
Thank you po.
Okay. Let's hear from one more student. Owen Librojo.
I'll just share screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you see the screen, miss?
Mhm. Yes, we can.
So based on the problem of why rice fields don't grow on trees don't grow on rice fields, I've proposed a design, an experimental design, which is determining the role of soil water saturation on tree growth. So my working hypothesis would be higher water saturation levels in the soil reduce tree growth, while my null hypothesis would be water saturation does not affect the tree growth. And my alternative hypothesis would be water saturation does affect the tree growth. And then my experimental objective would be determining the effects of different water saturation levels on tree growth. And then my sampling domain would be in a controlled environment with multiple plots with varying water saturation levels, which I have for like the soil type would be the same. For the factors of interests and response parameters, it would be the different types of water saturation levels, such as low, medium, and high, while the response parameters would be plant height and diameter over time. So for the factor levels, it's pretty much the same as the factors of interests, since I'm trying to find the different types of water saturations and how it would affect tree growth. It would be a low saturation, medium saturation, and high saturation. So for the sampling domain, it would be, once again, in a controlled environment with multiple plots with varying water saturation levels. For the experimental units, instead of treating each individual sapling as for the experimental unit, I would create or treat the plot itself as the experimental unit to avoid pseudo-replication. So for the levels of treatment, as mentioned prior, we would have 3, low saturation, medium saturation, and high saturation. And physical layout, we would have 3 separate plots per water saturation level, totaling 9 independent plots. Reason being is for the high number of plots is for replication purposes. So as mentioned previously, for
Okay,
my
Owen,
replication.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, just to clarify, and of your classmates. So given that you have 3 per treatment, so you have 9 total plots, so you have 9 samples. Of these 9 samples, how many are your replicates per treatment?
Per treatment, miss, it would be 2, I believe, since one treatment would be actual data I will use, and 2 replicates per treatment would be like a backup, miss.
Okay. So I think that's a common misconception among students regarding the importance of replicates, that one is the main and the two are just there as backup. But actually, for research purposes, it's your preliminary sampling that's the backup. Nauuna yung backup kasi yung backup ideally hindi mo siya gagamitin. Ginagawa mo lang siya para malaman kung ano ba talaga yung meron. But your three replicates are your actual. Important sila lahat. Hindi optional yung dalawa. You have to combine all three using descriptive statistics by computing for the mean, your standard deviation, and so on. You combine all three because the combination of all three represents the natural variation of your sampling domain. So important silang tatlo kasi the true value that we have in nature doesn't exist as a single correct value. Kaya kunwari, actually false yun na pag wala tayong lagnat, ito lang yung temperature natin, 37 point something. Pero actually, nagbabago-bago yung body temperature natin, hindi siya static. O kaya pag sinabi natin na ang healthy level ng hemoglobin sa katawan, range siya, hindi siya isang fixed number. So kaya natin kailangan ng replicates para makita falls within the range of the true value. So each of those replicates would be important. So in this case, dun sa pinresent ni Owen, kung tama yung naging randomization niya and pag-locate ng plots, yung 3 plots per treatment niya would mean he has 3 replicates per treatment. Pero meron din kasing na-mention si Owen dito na meron siyang certain number of plants per plot. So meron siyang 3 saplings per plot. So Owen, yung 3 saplings na yon, ano kaya sila? What do they represent?
It would represent like one experimental unit, those 3 saplings as a whole.
Okay. So again, nagkakaroon na tayo ng konting confusion, no? Ang experimental unit mo pa rin ay yung plot. Kasi the plots represent your replicates. The plants within the plot, sila yung minimeasure mo para makita kung tumatangkad ba yung plant o hindi. Pero even though sila yung minimeasure mo, each single plant in this experimental design cannot be considered an experimental unit kasi hindi sila pwedeng maging replicate. Since 3 plants ang nakatanim sa isang plot, yung 3 plants na yon possibly interact with each other. So baka naaapektuhan nila yung isa't isa. We can never be truly sure. So hindi sila truly independent. So in this case, since may 3 halaman per plot, yung bawat halaman na yon ay subsample. So merong mechanism yung experiment na ginawa ni Owen for internal calibration. Kasi syempre hindi naman lahat ng halaman magbe-behave the exact same way. So magandang may subsamples dito para ma-account for natin yung natural variation ng halaman. So dahil doon, may 3 plants per plot, may 3 plots per treatment. Ang number of replicates sa experiment na ito ay 3 per treatment with 9 subsamples. Kasi may 3 plants per plot, so 3 plus 3 plus 3, nagiging 9. Okay, so, thank you so much for that, Owen. You can stop screen sharing now. So, it's okay. Challenging talaga siya sa start. Ma-determine yung number of replicates, number of subsamples. But with a little practice, magigets niyo siya. And hindi lang siya para pumasa tayo sa long exam 1 ng ecology lecture, pero yun, napaka-important din niya pag magde-design kayo ng sarili niyong experiment. So I know there's still a lot more of you who needs to recite, but we're close to 10:30, which is the time for your quiz. So I just want to go through an example and some practice questions to help you understand better yung iba't ibang elements ng experimental design na gusto naming matutunan nyo. So let's say I want an experiment to determine the role of soil moisture on tree growth. So this is my working hypothesis. The soil of abandoned rice fields is too dry to support tree growth. Ang partner niya is the soil of abandoned rice fields is not too dry to support tree growth. Dapat may third pa yan. The soil of abandoned rice fields is too dry and it supports tree growth. And then yung susunod, the soil of abandoned rice fields is not too dry and it supports tree growth. Basta yun, medyo gets nyo na yun kanina. So my objective is to determine if kung may soil moisture ba that's related to irrigation, will it result in the germination of local tree seeds and their growth to reproductive age? So, yung growth to reproductive age, yun yung nag-set ng limit ng time. Kailangan yung experiment ko mag-last siya hanggang nagbubunga na yung puno ko. So, ang sampling domain ko, an abandoned rice field, factor of interest, soil moisture, response parameter, tree growth. So, ang factor levels ko, sinimplihan ko lang, normal moisture, so wala akong intervention na gagawin. And then moisture levels at areas. And second is yung in-increase ko, yung moisture levels. So, ang aking experimental units, magdi-distribute ako ng 10 by 10 meter plots of soil in an abandoned rice field. Tapos, i-assign ko sila ng treatment. Ayan, yung magme-make sense yung picture na yun. Isa, wow, ang dami kong pera. 8 treatment plots na may pipe irrigation. May 8 non-irrigated treatment plots with pipes. So, i-explain ko kung bakit importante yun later, ha? And then 8 non-irrigated treatment plots without pipes. So, bakit tatlo yung treatment ko when ang pakialam ko lang is soil moisture? Kasi, para mag-introduce ng soil moisture, kailangan kong maglatag ng pipe kasi doon manggagaling yung tubig. Yung pipe itself, ginugulo niya yung rice field kasi nag-introduce ako ng foreign matter. So, in this case, kailangan ko ng dalawang level of control. The first level is an abandoned rice field as it is. So, non-irrigated without pipes. The second level of control, non-irrigated, wala pa rin akong ini-introduce na moisture, pero nilagyan ko ng pipe. And then, the actual experiment is, binasa ko na siya dahil meron akong pipe. So, this is for me to make sure that the difference is because of the water and not because of the pipe. So, that's one of the things that you have to be wary of, na in your introduction of the factor of interest, meron ba kayong ibang binago? Kasi kung meron kayong ibang binago, baka kailangan nyo rin maglagay ng additional controls. Okay? So, nagpunta na ako dun sa farmland. Ito yung naging itsura nung aking setup. Can anyone try to share with the class what kind of sampling design this is? Is it completely random, randomized block? Del, go ahead.
I think it's randomized block po.
Very good, you're right. So this is an example of a randomized block design or randomized cooking block. So if you look at the picture, sorry, magpapabalik-balik ako ng slides. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. And you'll notice per block, the order of treatments are random. Okay, and this is to make sure that each treatment is independent of each other. Para yung results ko, sure ako na hindi siya dahil laging magkatabi itong dalawang treatment na ito. So I don't have subsamples, kulang na yung budget. But of course, limitations ko is pwedeng dun sa rice field, may areas na mas makapal yung soil. Dun sa ibang portion, baka may lumang puno na ng saging or bamboo. And then, hindi ko rin sure kung meron akong enough sources ng seeds. Kaya, kailangan kong magdagdag ng sarili kong seeds. Okay? So, Those are some of the things that you have to remember when it comes to doing your layouts. So always remember the basic basic design types, no? Sampling design types that Hurlbert was able to mention. And siguro in the last 4 minutes before our first quiz, maybe we can go through some examples to see if you understand or you know which is which. So kunwari, itong sampling design na ito, anong uri kaya siya? Can anyone guess? Just feel free to raise your hand. Ito kaya, anong uri to ng sampling design? Okay. Walang magi-guess? Last 3 minutes before the quiz. Okay, again, for ecology lecture and lab, we need you to unmute, not put your answer in the chat, ha? Ayaw niyong mag-review? Okay, Julia, what kind of sampling design is this?
Isn't it isolative segregation?
Isolative ba siya? Kung itong cloud na to ay yung farm? Nope, it's still randomized complete blocks. Okay, so ito yung soil. Hindi talaga sila isolated kasi nilayo nyo lang sila sa isa't isa, pero pwedeng may connections pa rin. Okay. How about this one? What kind of sampling design is this? Sheena, go ahead.
Is it completely randomized po?
Yes, very good. Tapos hopefully hindi kayo nagtataka kung bakit ganun yung sagot ng classmates nyo, ha? How about this one? What kind of sampling design is this? Stephen, go ahead.
Systematic po ba?
Yes, correct. Systematic kasi parehong-pareho, matchy-matchy sila lahat. Sunod-sunod lagi yung magkakaibang treatments, tas nakapila sila. Okay? How about this one? Okay, last example na. Ano to? Okay, anyone? Wala, hindi ko to sasagutin pag walang nanghula. Stephen again, go ahead.
Simple segregation?
Actually, systematic design pa rin siya. Okay, ang simple segregation is lahat ng treatments magkakatabi sa isang side. So puro blue, ito puro dark blue ito, puro light blue, tas puro gray yung isang side. So this is a systematic design, but this is actually not sampling anymore. This is actually an example of a census. So anong difference ng sampling at census? Ang sampling is kukuha ka ng from as many possible places in your sampling domain, pero hindi mo lalahatin. Ito kasi halos lahat or like 99% if not 100% of your sampling domain ay covered. So hindi na to sampling, census na siya kasi nilahat mo. Pero medyo problematic pa rin yung design kasi hindi natin mapapakita na truly independent ang bawat treatment sa isa't isa. Okay, so we'll continue on identifying the design. Maybe next meeting we'll talk about determining the number of replicates and subsamples. But for now, we'll end here. It's 10:30. I hope everybody is in an area with good internet connection. Please go to your Animospace page because your quiz should be open at this point. Once you know your quiz is working well, please feel free to leave the Zoom room. You don't have to stay here throughout the duration of your quiz. Okay, Mariah, you have a question?
Miss, ask ko lang po dun sa last slide po about sa systematic po. If ganun po kadami, Miss, Doc po, how many true replicates po per treatment does that kind of design have po?
Since it's a systematic design and there's no true independence across each sampling unit, you only have one replicate.
Okay po. Okay po, Doc. Pag ano naman po, Doc, pag yung sub-samples niya po per treatment?
Wala siyang subsample. Or that's debatable actually. We might need a bit more time to discuss that, pero I think you should be focusing on your quiz right now.
Okay po, Doc.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Sure. I'll make sure to put this slide again dun sa susunod nating meeting para mas ma-discuss natin siya. Okay, again, if your quiz is working well, please you can leave the Zoom room and you can focus your bandwidth on the quiz. Good luck. For the purposes of the recording, para hindi naman masyadong mahaba yung quiet time, I will be ending our Zoom session now. Thank you. Good luck with the quiz.